I want to first thank our sponsor for today's session, and that is Zetaly. Zetaly offers mainframe solutions for cost control, operations, and analytics, and capacity planning. So we want to thank them for their support of CMG in this session. We're going to go ahead and get started and launch our session today. So I want to introduce our speakers to you for this session: Observability, collect, enrich, and visualize your mainframe data for more efficient business decision making. Sammy is a mechanical engineer from Concordia University in Montreal. He's been a technical project manager, and he has worked in business development and actually worked for an anti-counterfeiting solution, which is pretty cool. He works at Zetaly, and he serves as their European sales manager. He helps work with clients to help them gain valuable insights about their IT ecosystems and watch their performance through data analytics. Then Patrice is also joining us. He graduated in computer technology from ISTI in Paris and started his career as a technician for an American manufacturer of high precision graphic tables and plotters. So he's been at Zetaly since it was Z-Cost Management, and he participated in the support and development of solutions related to cost control and mainframe capacity planning. So he's the product owner at Zetaly, and going to give us a lot of information about the tool that we'll be talking about today. So with that, let's get our session going.
Thank you, Amanda. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I'm Sami Chiriak, and I will be your presenter today. A quick word about myself. I'm based in France, moved here from Canada in 2018, and I head up sales for Zetaly. Every company I worked for offered data analytics platforms as part of their solutions. So I went from using data to track pharmaceutical products across the supply chain to using data to fight illicit trade and detect counterfeits. And now I'm using data to observe IT systems. I'm joined here by Patrice Cheyot, product owner at Zetaly. Patrice has over 30 years of experience. A big chunk of it involves mainframes. And I consider him a mainframe genius, hence the Einstein hairstyle. Today, we're going to talk about observability. So what it is, what it's used for, and why it's so important for businesses today. We'll look at the 3 steps required for efficient business decision-making. Then we'll jump into a demo and end with a Q&A session. So if you have any questions or would like to share your thoughts, feel free to do so in the chat, and we'll get to it at the end of the webinar. So I believe in good manners. So before we jump into the subject, allow me first to introduce you to my company, Zetaly. So Zetaly is the story of an IT infrastructure consultant, Jackie, and an IT systems director at a bank, Bruno, who are both experts and users of the mainframe and saw a real need in adding some flexibility to it. So in 2006, they created Z-Cost Management and introduced dynamic capacity as a solution to reduce costs without sacrificing performance, thus pioneering cost control solutions in the mainframe universe. After 10 successful years, they decide to venture beyond the financial aspect of mainframe modernization and into IT ops, analytics, and observability, which is why in 2018 we changed our name from Z-Cost Management to Zetaly to reflect that change and to reflect our mission to modernize the mainframe as a whole and to link financial, business, and technical data relevant to the IT environments. We are based in Nantes, France, and we have offices in New York so we can be closer to our American customers. And where we're not directly present, we rely on a network of amazing partners because for the past 2 decades, we've been helping companies in all 4 corners of the world and across several industries who came to us mainly because they wanted to do more with less. So today, there's a real shortage in talent in this space. The mainframe crowd is retiring or nearing retirement, and despite the efforts being done by academia and the industry to make this path more attractive to the younger talent, we're still not there yet. So there's a real human resources challenge. They also wanted to spend less, do more. So companies today are really eager to know who is spending all the money, which business unit, which application is using it most. So there's a real need to understand the budget and know where all the money is going. So if you add on top of that the complexity of the billing models that come in a million different flavors and the increased need for digitalization and APIs, things can get very expensive very, very quickly. So there's a real need to control the costs. And lastly, companies are eager to add some flexibility, some agility to the mainframe through integrations in other systems. Because whether we want to admit it or not, the mainframe is here to stay because it's still the most vital and most important computing platform on the planet. As a matter of fact, 30 billion transactions a day are handled by mainframes. 80% of all data is on the mainframe. And a recent survey shows that 47 of the top grossing banks still prefer mainframes to other solutions. 67% of Fortune 100 companies retained mainframes along with cloud computing, and 8 out of 10 telecom companies still prefer mainframe systems. And this is mainly due to the huge amount of transactions it can handle, but also its reliability, its security, its power, and overall robustness. But robust is the opposite of agile. And in today's landscape and rapidly evolving tech, agility is key. So how do we go past the human resources challenge and bridge that gap between the rookies and the veterans? How can we understand our budget better so that we can control the cost? And lastly, how can we get the best of both the old tech worlds and the new tech worlds? Well, the answer is data-driven decision making. So rely less on experience, rely less on skill and intuition, and let the data speak first. Listen to the data and then complement it with your experience to make the best decision possible for your mainframe and your IT system as a whole, actually. So remove the blindfold. Remove the blindfold and act according to what you're observing. Which brings me to the next point. The tool for data-driven decision-making is observability that will allow you to observe your IT environment. So the actual definition is ability to monitor, measure, and analyze the behavior and performance of the IT environment. So think of it as a GPS for your system, right? So a GPS can really come in handy when you've just landed in a new city and you need to find your way. But it can also be helpful if you are familiar with the city and you do know the way. So I personally always turn on the GPS even when I'm heading home, not because I'm not an expert in the way home, but because it allows me two things. The first one, it allows me to discover new routes. And the second one, which is much more important, is that the GPS will reroute me if there's a traffic jam because I have the real-time traffic updates. So observability works the same way. It will allow experts to go further and explore new angles with the data they have, and it will allow the less experienced to use the platform as a guide to ramp up the speed, all while being functional from day one. So, what are the goals of observability? First of all, it allows you to be proactive. So by knowing where we're headed, we can adjust the sales before the issues impact the customer. Then better control. So we're not limited to the mainframe, we're across the enterprise. So if there's an application change somewhere else or other teams are optimizing, by having the big picture, you can make sure nothing breaks and everything goes according to plan. So nothing goes wrong. Which brings me to the third point, collaboration. Observability breaks down the boundaries. between the IT teams, between the Z teams and the non-Z teams, because they will all be speaking the same language and all singing from the same book. So this is another goals of observability, is really to break down the walls. And lastly, oh, 1 second. And lastly, IT business alignment. So let's face it, at the end of the day, it's all about the business. If the business needs a KPI, a stat, or a report, IT needs to be able to provide it, or the business will go somewhere else. So what are the 3 steps required for data-driven decision making, which will ultimately build your success? Well, first of all, and most obvious, data collection. So if you want to do data-driven decision making, well, you need data. I'm not teaching you anything there. So collecting data on your system's behavior. Second step is data enrichment. So now we need to give sense to that data. We need to process it and extract the useful information that will serve our purpose or what we need it to do. Basically, we'll see that later. And step number 3, we need to present that data. Present it in a meaningful way, in a visual way, and most importantly, in an actionable way. We want to spot the trends, spot the patterns, spot the issues, so that we can make well-informed, better, and easy decisions. Well, easier, because decisions are not always easy to make. Which is why at the heart of our solutions is the Zetaly data platform. So it takes care of all 3 steps for you. It collects, it enriches, it exposes the data. And it was built with one thing in mind: to integrate any existing ecosystem so that it can cater for your specific needs, because every business is different. Every business is unique with its own specific needs. Which is why if you look at the diagram, the kind of hourglass shape shows this philosophy of always integrating what's already there instead of imposing. So at the bottom, you see that we can collect data from multiple sources, so pretty much from anywhere. And on the top, we can expose that data to anywhere. Let's explore each step in more detail. So starting with collect. So this can be compared to buying ingredients required for specific recipes. There are several methods. So for Z products, every operation pretty much generates an SMF or a log. We collect those. We can collect data from SCRTs like consumption and map out the infrastructure automatically, among other things. And for non-Z products, we'll rely on connectors. And there are well over 100 connectors already developed between Z and non-Z products. And when it's not a connector, it's an API. We plug to it and we collect the sources, the data. So by combining all these sources, we can pretty much collect from anywhere. But the idea here is not to collect for the sake of collecting. This is not the data hoarding step, but the data collecting step. So we need to be smart, efficient, and do it in an affordable way, which is not as easy as it sounds, because considering the millions of logs that are generated every day by the mainframe, collecting relevant, specific, and up-to-date data can be quite challenging, which is why, once again, at Zetaly, we decided to simplify the process for you and automate it with 2 features. The first one is our streaming agents will always continuously capture logs in real time all the time. So that way we can be sure that we are always working from the most up-to-date, accurate data that reflects the system's health as it is today. Not yesterday, not a week ago, not a month ago, but today. This will help you trust the data more, knowing that it's the most updated. But the second thing, the most important thing, is our SMF self-service feature. So as I said earlier, every business is different. Every business has different needs. So with the SMF self-service, we give you complete control over the collection process without the burden of coding, right? So besides the basic SMFs that we support, With this feature, you can collect any other SMF generated without any coding or specific development. All you need to do is describe it and start collecting it. So, in a world where SMFs are constantly changing, this feature slashes the time it takes to adapt to these changes considerably. But it doesn't stop there, because once collected, with the self-service feature, you can choose or select the logs to keep and the ones that you don't need that you can discard. So that way you can keep only what you need. Now that's smart collecting. Once all the data is collected, once all the ingredients are bought, it's time to cook several recipes. So with that same data, we're going to enrich, we're going to transform it to do different things. So if you're looking to do IT ops, for example, well, the Zetaly Service Intelligence will help you leverage operational data to optimize your mainframe. And this is what we're going to be demoing later. If you're looking to do FinOps, then the Zetaly cost control will help you monitor the financial impact of the mainframe. And lastly, if you're looking to do PredOps or capacity planning, well, the Zetaly resource planning will help you plan and simulate mainframe resources and costs. So once again, same data transformed to serve different purposes, IT ops, FinOps, or PredOps. And to stay with my culinary comparisons, once all the dishes are cooked, we need to present them in the most appealing way to our guests. So this is the visualize step, step number 3. Once again, our solution comes with our own BI. If you're already using a BI and you're happy with it, then we can expose that data through APIs to any third-party software you want. Again, integrate, don't impose. Integrate whatever makes you happy at the end of the day. Now, the best way to present the visualize step is to show you rather than tell you. So I suggest we jump into the demo. And I can't think of anyone better than the person that knows the platform's past, present, and future, the product owner himself. Patrice, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sami. I am Patrice Chouillot, product owner for Zetaly, and I'm going to present you Zetaly Service Intelligence module dedicated to data observability inside the suite. I'm going to log in inside the suite using my credentials. These credentials are verified by Active Directory or adapt solutions depend on the installation you have done. Once I am logging, I'm directly redirect to the bookmark page where my favorite dashboard are located. Here there is just one examples. On the top of the interface, there is several modules, my Zetaly, that's dedicated to infrastructure, service intelligence we are going to see during these sessions, cost control for the FinOps, resource planning for the PredOps, automated capacity for the cost control, Data Explorer that's allowing you to explore any data collected by Zetaly, and streaming agents where we are defining how we are going to collect information and defining, for example, SMF structures. And also Data API that's allowing users to expose all the data collected by Zetaly to any other solution to be integrated inside the data ecosystem of customer. You can use your own BI tools if you have BI software or any usage you want to do with the data collected inside Zetaly. Let's go back to service intelligence and see how the interface is split. We have 3 main parts: overview, resource usage, and custom. All the dashboard display here depend on the dashboard that has been shared with you. So for me, have only this dashboard accessible and can be different for each user inside the suite. To open a dashboard, it's very easy. Click on the tilt, and the dashboard is automatically open. This dashboard, for example, is talking about CPU activity. On the top left, we have a widget that's showing CPU activity for whole covering period by the data with the difference day by day. And beside, we have an average profile of all these days. That means all these data consuming have this profile. Of course, we can select a specific day, for example, the peak, and we have beside the profiles of the peak and all adjusted value inside the dashboard regarding that day. If I'm selecting the low period here, we can see a very different profile, very flat. This means there is no activity, and this is a Sunday that could be normal, and that means the offices are probably closed for that company. The widget below shows the activity of a cumulative MSU by months. It's very useful for people using TFP billing method, for example. Here, when I'm selecting a point, you can see this point displayed on the other charts, and we can see all where you are located on the charts here. This is a flat period for the weekend. You can see this flat period in the curve. If I'm selecting an LPAR, for example, this one, I can see the activity and the cumulative MSU for this specific LPAR. What we can see actually that the cumulative MSU for this LPAR is very high for the green period than the months in blue. That means I probably have a project or a high activity on this specific LPAR, and I have to see why I have this consumption. It's probably normal or not. But it's very interesting to see. On the chart beside or below, we have the consumption in terms of CPU time dispatched by zip or CP engines. Here we can see that this LPAR consumes very low workload on the zip CP, and the usage of the average usage for this day on CP is 95%. This is a profile of the LPAR, and if we have more than one LPAR selected, we have all the profile of this LPAR, and besides the same profile for the cake. I can select here a day, and I have all widget updated regarding that specific day. You can see that for the high period, the consumption in terms of CP was more than the previous day selected. To switch to another dashboard, just return to the Service Intelligence or use the quick access bar to display the dashboard you expected to see. Here, for example, I have selected Kix activity samples, and now it's going to be displayed. This dashboard is talking about transaction executed under Kix. We have the details here, the Kix there. It can be filtering by Kix name, seeds, application names. We have information about CPU time, average response time, type of transactions. And here's a distribution of executed transactions with details here by columns. This widget showing activity with a forecast regarding the dotted line, executions, transactions, and distributions, and the time. Here, the CPU time, and the response time. Here we have the details, transaction name, average response time, number of executions, number of abort, CPU time, and so on. I can filtering this dashboard by a Kix name, and the information will be related only for that Kix regarding the period covering by the data loaded inside the models. I can select a specific day, and for this day, for the Kix also selected, I have this transaction, this other day, distributions. Click on this button, clear all the filter, and return to the previous views. I can open the dynamic filters bar and entering a transaction name or just a part of the name, just a letter I, for example, here. And the dashboard will be automatically filtering for all these transactions related to the criteria I have entering inside this filter. This information are now displayed with cakes, with their response time, and all the detail for these selected transactions. Here, this is where they were executed. I can select these kicks now and have some transaction for that kicks. And here's a profile of all of them. I can remove the filter and go back to the previous situations. Dashboard provided by default with Zetaly Suites are really generalist because we know that each customer have different business needs. It's why inside the product, we offering the possibility to create easily and quick your own dashboard. It's really simple. For this, you just have to go to a custom icon on the top of the interface, click on it, then we are automatically logging in inside the BI software delivered by default with Zetaly Suites. Here you can see all the dashboard sharing with me or my own dashboard. I'm going to still in creations. I propose during this session to create a dashboard related to IMSU and WLM to see the PF factor on my service class. To create a dashboard is really easy. Just click on this field, create your dashboard, and I have to select one data source. In that case, WM data, perfect for my needs, but all other sources are also available. I'm going to keep this one and change the title of the dashboard saying WM sample. Then click Create. Now I have a workspace created automatically for my dashboard, and now I have to select some data to create widget inside the dashboard. I'm going to click on Select Data, Get Time, and IMSU because it's one of the metrics I want to see. Instant MSU, perfect. Now I have a first dashboard display, not really relevant because it's by year, just 1 point. I want something more granular, and we're going to switch in advanced configurations and change the year by day, for example. Could be less, could be by 15 minutes, 30 minutes, every minute, depend on your needs. Then total MSUs, perfect. Going to change the shape of the line and the color using red as we're used to do inside the company. Okay, that's ready. I have a dashboard. I have a widget, sorry, with my total consumption IMSU by day. I'm going to change the way or how the IMSU is displayed. Just want some units and wall number there. Okay, and for the date, I want the full date here. Okay. I'm going to place this legend on the top. Okay, then rename would be nicer. Total IMSU. That's it. And remove all this legend on the bottom. And now have the date and the total MSU by day. I can apply. Then my first widget inside the workspace is created. I can move it. Okay, that's my first information. Now I would like to have this information filtering by helper, for example. Then I can duplicate easily this widget. Now I have both. Then edit. Then remove the time period by seed, for example. Here I have some seeds, perfect. Now I have the consumptions by seed, total MSU by seed by day, but it's not relevant, not by day, just total MSU by seed. 1 point is a seed. Not really relevant to see this information with that chart. I can, inside the gallery, switch to another presentation, pie chart, for example. And now have the distribution of my IMSU consumption by seed. I'm going to organize a little bit these widgets. Just remove these legends because I've already the information there. Organize the way all the information is displayed clockwise. That's better. I want to see the others helper there. I'm going to switch this and change the default value for 14. Should be enough. Okay, I have all my helper, and I can change the shape for a ring, for example. So that's perfect. And apply. Now I have the consumptions IMSU by seed by helper. As you can see here, I have a dynamic filter that is applied each time I'm selecting an helper on my widgets. By default, I don't want to have some filter here. I can remove it and say, okay, this situation is my default filter. Now I just have to select one, go there, and it removes the filters. But now I have some selectors, but I need some information about WLM. I would like to have this information by importance, for example, RMSU. I can again duplicate this widget, edit that widget, and I'm going to break these informations by importance. Now I have IMSU consumed by WM importance from system to discretionary. I can keep this way for the presentations, but I prefer to have some column charts. Can switch to them, then stack the informations. Now, by day, I have the consumptions by importance. I can change this color because it's very close to the other blue. Okay, then apply. Now I can start to see the profile of the importance used by helper. I can see this one use a lot of discretionary. This one, lot of system on it. And there is no importance 1 or 5. I can return to the default. I can add a day selector. I'm going to use that one to duplicate again. Edit. And looking for a calendar somewhere. Heatmap calendar. Okay, now it's done. I have the IMSU consumption, and more darker is the color, more MSU have been consumed this day. As you can see the difference between these 2 days. Okay, I can apply. Start to have a lot of widgets now. It's probably time to organize a little bit my dashboard. I'm going to add columns. Just clicking there, choosing columns. 2 columns, it's enough. I'm going to resize this column. Move my calendar to the other column. And also my selector. There. Okay. Now I can select a day. And here we have the different distributions by helper. Here, the day selected with the importance and the profile where we are. If I'm selecting that day, all other widgets are adjusted regarding my selections. I start to have some information here related to the importance. It could be nice to have some few information about service class with some details. And, let's go back to clear the filters. And now I'm going to add a new widget. Just click there. Switch into advanced configurations because I have more choice. And here I can select any widget I want. So with the tables could be a good way to represent details. And now I'm going to add some columns. See it, for example. Probably I have some policy. Yes, policy. I'm going to add WM class. can add the gold type. Gold type, perfect. I can add the importance. Add again the PI factor. It's what you are looking for. Here, I'm not going to get the sum, of course. I'm going to change this. I can quickly change the way I'm calculating this value. I'm going to take the average, or I can go there in edit and inside functions, select many functions I need, all the functions I need. Can be statistical or mathematical or related to time, and create my own formula here. I can have instant MSU consume the totals, okay. Then the software service unit. I will have to adjust column width automatically. Then I think my table is ready. It's done. Okay. Now I can start to play a little bit. Okay, for this, that day. Okay, it start to work. So I have some information about P factor, and could be interesting to filtering the information now directly, for example, by importance. I can add some filters for this. Let's go back to the default. And now I'm going to choose inside the gallery of the filter of the widget, a widget called filter. This is the first one. And I said to that widget, I want to filtering my information by importance. Here I have all the importance. Okay, then apply. The widget is automatically placed on the bottom of my dashboard. I'm going to move it on the top because it's a filter. It's nice to be placed on the top. And let's see if it works. Just select importance 0. And all the information as clearly filtering by importance 0. And here, this is the usage by LPAR of this importance and the profile or MSU of this importance. Now, it would be nice to have the information by filtering by service class. I'm going to duplicate this one, then edit, remove the importance, get WM class, there. And regarding my actual filter inside the dashboard for importance 0, I have CSOS, CSTC, and system. Seems to be correct. Here I can CSTC, for example. And the information is correctly selected for that WM class regarding all the cell bar, and of course P factor and importance are 0. This is a total MSU consumed by this service class. Of course, now I can change, return to the default, and selecting, for example, important 3. This is a profile of the importance 3, and inside this importance, I have all these WM class defined. I can select this one, for example. And now I have the P factor for this server class over the time regarding my selection. I can add seed. Oh, sorry, I'm going to duplicate before. It's quicker. Yes, there is seed. And apply. If I'm selecting listed bar, for example, the widget is updated automatically, and I know perfectly how my dashboard is filtering, even if this bar is hidden. Now let's go back to the default filters. I have the information that I was looking for. I can, of course, sort the tables by each column I expect. But here I would like to add a KPI that will be the average PI factor value. I'm going to add a widget, switching again in advanced configuration directly to choose my type of widget, and I'm going to get an indicator. Add a value, PI factor, and of course it's not a sum I need, it's an average. I can rename here if I want, change the way it's displayed, like this, for example. Displays as usual on the bottom. I'm going to move it on the top because it's a KPI, and place on the bottom left. Distribute all this widget equally. And now I have the expected dashboard. If I'm selecting a class, this one, I have its average PI factor when this class is used in one helper in two importance. This is a PI factor, the consumed MSU, and this is the highest day where there is some activity for this specific class that should be there. Exactly. It's what the widget here showing. My dashboard is now complete regarding my needs, and I can share this dashboard with anyone, for example, myself, your presenter, Patrice. Then I will receive a link by mail saying that someone has sharing a dashboard, and I can access now to this dashboard in view mode. I cannot modify what it has been just created now. If this profile is designer or admin, I can choose the method I'm going to share this dashboard with that user. Could be designer, or could be giving him the honor to be owner of that dashboard. This is a link related to the direct access to this dashboard. And now save. Is done. This dashboard is good regarding information I want, but I don't want to go inside the dashboard each time data are updated, but I want to know that value, average PI factor, because it's important for me, and especially for that service class, for example. Sorry. This service class is really important for me, and I want to be alert in case of the PI factor goes above 1, the value 1. What I can do is to add some alert on it, just on the options, adding this information to pulse, and saying, okay, if this information is greater than, depend on the condition I expect to put, is greater than 1, I want to be alert. This is one of the conditions, but it could be also automatic. That means here is anomaly detection, or always. That means each time data are updated inside the models, you will be alert of the new value calculated. This alert is ready. I can go to advanced and see my activity filters. That means here I will have information in case of this service class of PI factor greater than 1. Who will receive this alert will be me, but I can also alert anyone. as I'm sharing the dashboard previously, I can add myself also to be alert in case this alert is true. Then can just click on add, and that's it. Now I can return to the default filter. Then I'm going to verify that my alert is correctly taken account using this icon on the top right. And this is the page where all active or inactive alerts, but all defined alerts are displayed. You can see here there is one talking about IMSU. And this is my alert just defined from my dashboards. I can turn it off or turn it on, delete, edit, if I want to change people's or criteria related to these alerts. If I'm going back to Service Intelligence page, my dashboard is displayed there, WM sample, and I can access directly from that page to the just building dashboard. And here I can use, I'm a simple user, and I can use this dashboard. It's part now of my products. Let's go back here. Then I can say, okay, interesting. I want to get it as a favorite. And if I go back to the main page of Zetaly, my sample dashboard is there, and I can access directly to this dashboard without having to open any other page. That's it for me. Let's go back to Sami. Thank you.
I want to invite anyone with questions to drop them in the chat or in the questions pane. And I do have a question for you to get started. So I was curious to know if ZSI users, if all ZSI users can create their own dashboard.
Sorry.
Patrice, do you want to answer or do I answer?
Sorry, I didn't catch the question. Can you, Sami, can you just translate?
Yeah, I'll answer. I heard it. So basically, yes. I mean, as Patrice showed, when he did when he sent the dashboard to someone, there is user management based on 3 different levels. They can be either designer or just viewer or data designer, and based on which group of users they belong to, they have different accesses and privileges. So not everyone can make dashboards, only the ones that do have the privilege to do so.
Yeah. You're right. Thank you, Sami. Yes, you have to get privileges to build a dashboard.
And does that mean that the dashboards are customizable? Like if my needs are different than someone else's, I can create a dashboard that fits my needs?
Yes, you can create a dashboard from any data collected from the solution Zetaly. It's, as you have seen, it's very easy. You just have to define your need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question from the audience. Can we create a dashboard on the CPU percentage by started task on ZOS? So I assume we're looking for the CPU percentage by started task on ZOS.
Yes. In fact, Zetaly allows you to collect a large collection of data. Once they are collected, you can put them in relation and extract all the information you want from your data. This means it's just a question of needs. Which data I need for which information I want. That's all. This is a challenge, and with that solution, you can do it, of course. And you can have projections on your consumptions regarding CPU usage and other indicators.
Okay. Victor, I hope that answers your question. I'm curious to know, Zetaly collects a ton of data. Is all of that data available for building dashboards?
I didn't understand the question, Sally. Could you just?
Yeah, all the data collected. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all the data collected can be used. Just you play with the data models that Patrice showed. So yes, technically, once it's collected, you can use it to do it. But as I said in my presentation, the idea is to collect what you need. So if there's a new need, you change your collection strategy, and especially with the SMF self-service, if we don't already support it, you can create your own. And based on that data, you create your dashboard. The rule of thumb is one dashboard to answer one question. So this is the mindset to have. So what one question do I want this dashboard to answer? And based on that, I see if I have the data for it. And based on that, I do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all the data collected can be used.
Yes, what you have seen during the presentation, in fact, is based with the BI software we propose inside the solutions, but it's not mandatory. You can use an API that will be allowed to expose data to any other solution, any other BI. All BI needs to build models, but some others BI doesn't, and in that case, you don't need to use that model, and you can access to any data as you want, as your software allows.
Okay. And how many different types of SMF can you collect?
Sorry.
Sorry. I was wondering how many different types of SMF can you collect?
How many data can we collect? This is a question. Yeah.
How many SMFs? Yeah.
Oh, in fact, as Sami present, there is no limit in terms of SMS we can collect. It's just a question of description of the SMF inside the product. The way we choose inside for Zetaly is to allow customers to describe SMF they want to collect or other logs, for example, inside the product, and just describe how they are formatted. Basically, formatted. That means anytime we can collect any SMF at any time. If imagine a software running on ZOS provided by ISV. Of course, we don't have the description inside the Zetaly product, but when you acquire this software, in the documentation, if this software produce some SMF, the documentation say how they are structured. Just enter the description inside the solution, and we are able to collect them and expose them and enrich them if necessary. The product is designed for that.
Awesome, great. So we have just 2 minutes left, it looks like. So we might be able to get to one more question, but in the meantime, I know I'll drop the website URL in for everyone, but is there a particular place people should go to get in touch with you, or should they just go to the website?
Well, I had my email on the last slide, but we're not sharing screens. But the best way to get in touch is by email with me. If you have any questions, you'd like to book another demo to go more in depth with your needs, or you have more specific questions. So maybe I can put it in the chat, Amanda.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'll put it now. But obviously, you can go and find more stuff on our website and.
And I think I know you touched on sharing the data and dashboards, but can you share it? I didn't catch. Can you share it outside of your organization? Is there a where someone doesn't have to have a login or anything to see it? Is there a way to share externally?
In fact, you can share dashboard in other solution if necessary. It's a feature of the product, of course. It depends, in fact, of your needs. It depends how you install the solution and what you want to expose to other solutions. For the data, we are able to expose all the data collected. That's why we are our data platform. That's what we want to be, and that's what we are now. And for dashboard, it just depends. If you use the BI software inside Zetaly Service Intelligence we propose, yes, you can expose that to other portals in the web.
Okay, great. Well, we are out of time, Patrice. Sammy, thank you so much for joining us today. To everyone on our session, the video recording will be available in a couple of days, so you can rewatch it. And again, if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to Sammy. But there is also the website, and then there's also the support website, which has a lot of great information too for everyone. So thank you so much, and y'all have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.